I'm Terry Shepard. Being a confident podcast guest is a skill that can be learned. And that's why I wrote How to Become a Dynamic Podcast Guest and Sell Stuff. It's a sweet and short primer that teaches you about the gear, the appearance, and the messaging that can grab and hold today's micro attention spans and motivate your listeners to take action. How to Become a Dynamic Podcast Guest and Sell Stuff. The digital version is just $1.99 at Amazon. Grab your copy today and sell more books tomorrow.
In Conversation with Terry Shepard, award-winning broadcaster, narrator, and author. A deep dive into the writer's craft with the artists and support systems who create the stories we love.
There's something irresistible about a mystery that sparkles, not just with intrigue, but with history, beauty, and the quiet suggestion that every object, every artifact, every gem carries a story waiting to be uncovered. Sometimes those stories have been buried for a reason. Today's guest knows better than most about those things. C.B. Wilson is an award-winning author whose storytelling blends sharp mystery, a deep love of animals, and a lifelong fascination with gems and the secrets they hold. That passion goes all the way back to childhood when a single Nancy Drew novel didn't just inspire Cheryl to read, it inspired her to rewrite the ending. Since then, she's built worlds where curiosity leads the way and where even the smallest clue can unlock something extraordinary. Many readers know C.B. Wilson from the beloved Barkview Mysteries, a series that pairs suspense with heart and reflects her belief that every animal deserves a forever home. But her latest work takes us somewhere a little more glittering and a lot more dangerous. In Water Diamond, the second installment in her Gem Hunter series, Taylor Hunter's expertise in rare gems pulls her into a case that quickly spirals far beyond a simple theft. C.B. Wilson, it's great to have you back.
Thank you so much. And boy, what a great introduction, Terry. I am ready to read that book.
Give us the 411 on Water Diamond.
Water Diamond turned into an adventure that I did not expect it to. When I started writing it, I was intrigued by the fact that Wrigley, who is of course, the gum magnet from years past, had many different homes. And he had one in Phoenix, which was called the Star of the Desert. Turns out they built this beautiful mansion on top of the hills overlooking Phoenix, and they only were in it once before he passed. So this mansion is on the top of the hill. It's beautiful. I've also been a boater all my life and traveled to Catalina Island off the coast of California. And Wrigley's basically created Avalon. They had a casino there, which is not like a casino like y'all think about. Back in the 90s, the casino was actually a dance palace. And he turned it into basically a Los Angeles 19th adventure. It was a place to escape to back then. Putting all that together, I said, wow, wouldn't it be fun to start a book in Phoenix and end it in Catalina? Shoot, Art Deco jumped into that because it was a 1920s theme. And suddenly it is a historic race from Phoenix to Arizona. So from the desert to this coast of California. And boy, did I have fun writing this one.
Tell us more about the cast of characters in Water Diamond.
Water Diamond keeps a hunter who is the heroine of the story. She is a gem hunter. So what she does for a living is recovers diamonds for insurance companies. And she has a diamond dog. So this is a small dachshund, a mini dachshund named Glimmer. And Glimmer can sniff out diamonds, whether you're 50 feet in the ground or 50 feet in the air. She can find them. We bring along, of course, Minter's sister, Hope, and the two of them are twins. So together, they have all the skills it takes to be a complete diamond hunter. Hunter's the person who's out in the field, and her sister behind the scenes. She works for the GIA, which is the Gemological Institute, and she actually grades diamonds for a living. So together, they create a really fun group. And of course, we had to bring Rocky Rockman back, which is Hunter's love interest, for lack of a better term. He's at the FBI, and he's in charge of the events of reception. So we bring these characters from Phoenix to Catalina, and boy, did they ended up in an adventure that was shocking with the history added to it. There is Stolen Diamond, Art Deco, which is what we call a duet. So that means that two pieces are connected together to make something larger. So instead of a bracelet, you now have a necklace. You connect the two pieces together. One of the bracelets was stolen in 1929 at the opening of the casino on Catalina. And they have to find that before they can solve the mystery. Of course, someone's already hot on the trail of this piece of jewelry because it has no past. The past is hidden, and they have to discover what that past is before they can actually find the bracelet itself.
In Water Diamond, the place is as much of a character as are the people. Tell us more about that place.
Catalina Island has a really wonderful history. What ended up happening with the story, which kind of surprised me, was I love the background. So I was going to use the island of Catalina. It's a little exotic and just a lot of fun. People have a great time on the island, and it's relaxation just right off the coast of California. It's wonderful. But what I found was that Glimmer, the diamond dog, pretty much decided to tour the entire island. So what you'll find with this book is there are clips that are currently showing on my each a picture a day of all the clues for this book that Glimmer, it comes from Glimmer's point of view, where she says, I'm protecting my human today as we end up going through the clues. So all the clues for the book are actually being told through the pictures, through the clues as Glimmer finds them in her little pink cowboy hat and little pink outfit. She's sniffing around the island. It hits all the main attractions in Avalon. It's adorable. It's so cute.
We're talking with author C.B. Wilson about Water Diamond, her latest. You've written across a number of genres and a number of styles. What is it that keeps drawing you back to mysteries?
I've always loved mysteries. As you said in the preview, was a Nancy Drew fan, loved Agatha Christie. I like to read a book with a puzzle in it where I have to think through it versus being handed information one piece at a time. And I enjoy that very much. When I started the Barkview series, which is a true cozy mystery about a cat person trying to decide if there's a right dog for her, that series was inspired by my mother, who, as a couch potato, decided that a Jack Russell Terrier was a good choice for her. It was not. So that series was really written to help people understand different traits of different dogs. So very much a cozy series. There was a mystery involved, and the traits of the dog helped solve the mystery. The Gem Hunters was the book that I've always wanted to write. I am a gemologist, have been fascinated with jewels my entire life, and I created a character who honestly part James Bond, part Joan Crawford, and at the end of the day, she is probably who I wish I was at some point. And of course, I have to live with the father to change the world, right? This poor woman is a gem hunter, hunts for gems for a living, and it turns out that her absentee father is a world-class jewel thief. So every single step along the way, she's wondering, did my father steal this piece of jewelry that I'm trying to recover or not?
How has Taylor evolved over the course of these two stories as you've gotten to know her better?
She started out as being she did everything a certain way. She was just tough around the edges. And there was really no softness to her in the first book until she meets her father in Fire Diamond. And you see a hesitation in her of what's right and what family means. When you get to book 2, she's starting to wonder who her father is by book 2, because she'd always thought that he was this world-class jewel thief. That's all he did, was selfishly stealing jewels. She's wondering if that's really true. And as she goes through book 2, she starts learning some things about her father from other people, which sets up book 3 perfectly, where book 3 in the Ice Diamond is he's accused of stealing the diamond that she has to recover in the ice.
One of the things I love about your writing, Cheryl, is that there are so many moving parts and pieces. How do you keep track of all the details?
I finally convinced my husband that I need to have a grease board in my office, because there are so many moving parts that bringing them all together by the end becomes a little complicated as I'm getting deeper into this Gem Hunter series, because there's so many little intricate clues that are leading you up to book 3 and book 4. And they're being basically peppered through all of the stories. So as you read the series in this one, look, they're all standalone. There's no question about it, but it's a much richer experience if you start at the beginning in the Gem Hunters, where you'll learn a lot about diamonds. You'll learn a lot about why things are done the way they are in the diamond industry.
What do you think makes these stories satisfying for your readers?
Oh man, if you like jewelry, these are heaven. In book 1, in Fire Diamond, you walk away with a really good understanding about the difference between natural diamonds and man-made diamonds. And you can choose what your preference is in the type of diamond. When you get to book 2, it starts to give you the history of diamonds and what it means, what of a certain cut of a diamond that was cut in the 90s before technology gave you the ability to be so precise in the way things sparkle. Now, I read an interesting article yesterday about a lot of stars are going back toward the old cut diamonds, which are old mine diamond cuts. Those diamonds were cut by hand specifically to sparkle in candlelight. Nowadays, you have fluorescent lighting around, you put more angles in it with precise cutting, and that stone can just explode in sparkles across your hand, which is why they came up with brilliant cuts. But there's kind of people now leaning more back towards those antique cuts and the story behind the antique cuts, which is perfect because that's what you have. When you pull a 1920s piece, the diamonds are very remarkable. That how could they cut something by hand and get such symmetry? And they did a beautiful job in it. It's just amazing to me how we can have both together at the same time, and it's just lasting forever. And that's the beauty of jewelry, is that every piece of jewelry has a piece of history to it and a story to tell, which is why the tagline of every one of my books is every diamond has a story, because they do, every one of them.
C.B. Wilson is our special guest. We're talking about the second in her Gem Hunter series, Water Diamond. Her website is cbwilsonauthor.com. Can diamonds be manufactured?
Absolutely, they can. In fact, we talked about that in book 1 in the Fire Diamond, is how they did it. And all diamonds are compressed carbon. That if a natural diamond had happened in the earth, it can be manufactured in any type of piece of equipment that can put the pressure onto the carbon. In my newsletter last month, I actually wrote a piece on taking your pet's ashes and turning it into a diamond. And it's a thing. And for a lot of people, it's a great way to remember their pet, is to send ashes to the company that can actually create a small diamond for you of your pet.
Why a dachshund for your dog in this series?
The truth of the matter is that diamond dogs do exist in Africa today. They're usually larger dogs, and they help and actually do a better job, by the way, than equipment. They help find diamond in the ground so people know where to dig for them, and they do better than the machinery does nowadays, which is even more fascinating to me. The problem is with the Gem Hunters, it was always intended to be an action adventure where it's traveling all over. Think about it. It was Phoenix, Arizona, book 1. Book 2 is Catalina Island in California. And book 3 is Quebec City at this point. Book 4 will be in Australia. We needed a dog that could fit under the seat in front of her on an airplane. So I needed a scent hound who was small enough to fit in an airplane. And a dachshund was the perfect fit. If you think about it, a dachshund is a badger dog. So they were tunnelers with fantastic noses. And while there are no real diamond dogs that are dachshunds at this time, it always made sense that they could be if they were trained properly.
One of the things that deeply fascinates me is your ability to look out over the horizon. So you're planning 2 books ahead now, or you have an idea for a third one?
Oh, there's a third one in there somewhere. I'm not sure yet where it's going to go, but I can tell you that Quebec City's story is absolutely fantastic. The Ice Diamond is a closed room mystery in an ice hotel. Figure that one out. It's been fun to write. It's inspiring for me on the Quebec City.
So in your process of creation, do you start with the location and then work backwards from there?
Do you know, it's funny, when I came up with the Ice Diamond, it was an article that inspired me. I saw a picture of an ice hotel and said, wow, isn't that cool? How easy would that be to stash a diamond in an ice hotel? So that was how that one was inspired. And then, of course, finding one that was somewhat close. Quebec City was the only one I could find in North America. The other choice was to run to a hotel in Finland in the dead of winter. And I'm like, no, I am a warm weather person. There's no way I'm going to Finland in the dead of winter.
And then why Australia?
What it turns out as I did my research for the ice diamond is the Canadian Diamond Company is actually owned by an Australian company. And it was just a natural leap to see that to uncover part of the mystery in the ice diamond and then finished it in the star diamond, which will take place in Australia. And then, of course, that I learned about all these wonderful smuggling routes between Thailand and Australia with diamonds and other jewelry. And I'm like, I like it. I like it a lot.
Before the show, we were talking about how complicated and challenging the whole business of writing has become. Why do you write?
I can't stop myself. I'm laughing. It's so true. What I find is that I get involved in a concept and I go down a rabbit hole on research that I had to tell everybody about because it's so fascinating. And I find that I write to do just that, is to tie together something that's interesting to me that I find interests a lot of other people and tie it to some historical background, something that you had no idea even existed until you read through the book. So I hope when people walk away from my books, they walk away, one, with an understanding of gemology deeper than what they understood before, and also an appreciation for history and what brought us to the point that we're at right now, brought through the eyes of jewelry.
If someone came up to you today and said, I think I want to write, what would your advice be to them?
Hold on tight, baby. It's a ride.
And never give up.
Never give up. I have found, I come from business world, and going into writing has been an experience that I did not expect it to be. I felt that writing was, when I first started, it should be just another commodity that you sell in the open market. That is absolutely not the case. It has to be passion. And I'm finding that it is passion driving me to continue. And the next step the Glimmer is going to become a first attraction. I hope so. She has something to say about everything.
CBWilsonAuthor.com is the website. The book is Water Diamond. It is the second in Cheryl's latest series, and CB Wilson herself has been our special guest today in conversation. Thanks for the conversation. It's been great to be with you again.
Thank you, Terry. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
In Conversation with Terry Shepard is a copyrighted presentation. All rights reserved. I'm Lisa Davis. Join Terry Shepard next time in Conversation.